Eighth sign. Another sign of learned men of the next world is that he is sincere and upright for making his faith firm and strong, as firm faith is the root of religion. The Prophet said, "Sure faith is belief in its entirety or perfect faith." So it is necessary to learn the learnings of faith, after which the path of the heart will be opened. For this reason, the Prophet said, "Learn sure faith." In other words, keep company with those who have firm faith and hear from them the learnings of firm faith. Follow them always so that they take faith, that your faith may become firm as their faith became firm. A little firm faith is better than many actions. When two people, one whose faith was good but whose sins were more, and another whose actions were more and faith little, were mentioned to the Prophet, he said, "There is no man without sin. One whose intellect is short and faith sure cannot be injured by sin, because whenever he commits a sin, he repents and seeks forgiveness. Thus his sins are removed and his virtues remain intact, and he enters paradise." For this reason, the Prophet said, "Among the things that you have been given, the least is firm faith and the determination for patience. Whoever is given a special share of these two has got faith, even if he misses prayer at night and fasting by day." Luqman advised his son, "O dear son, action is not possible except through firm faith in religion. A man cannot act except in proportion to his firm faith, and his actions do not decrease except when his sure faith decreases." Ihya ibn Muaz said, "Tawheed has got light and shirk has got fire. The light of Tawheed for the sins of the monotheist is more warm than the fire of the polytheist for his virtues." Here, light means firm faith. God referred to those who have sure faith several times in the Quran and pointed out that through their faith they will receive his blessings. The reply to the question, what is meant by yaqeen or sure faith, is as follows. The philosophers and the scholastic theologians say that its meaning is faith in objects beyond doubt. There are four states of a person when he is eager to know the truth of a thing. Firstly, when faith and falsehood are equal in the mind of a person, such a state is called doubt. Secondly, if the mind inclines more to a thing out of the two states, and if mind knows that it may be otherwise, the first state will be stronger. For instance, if you are asked about a man who is in your sight pious and God-fearing, whether he will be punished or not, your mind inclines more to him not being punished as his outward signs of piety. Nevertheless, you admit the possibility that something which requires punishment has been concealed in his secret life. This admission is mixed with your first inclination and creates in your mind a conjecture. The third state is that the mind is strongly inclined to a thing, an opinion adverse to it cannot come to it. This is called i'tiqad or belief approaching certainty. This is the juncture of general public about religious matters. The fourth state is sure or certain faith in a matter without the least doubt in it. This is called yaqeen. For instance, when a wise man is asked, "Is there anything eternal in existence?" he cannot suddenly reply to it, as eternal thing is not subject to conjecture or perceived by the senses, and it's not like the sun or the moon, of which the truth can be perceived by the eyes. So the existence of an eternal thing cannot suddenly be said to be true without thought. The truth of an eternal thing is not such as the truth that 2 is greater than 1, or the truth that nothing can occur without a cause. Knowledge of these things comes out spontaneously without the necessity of any thought. So true belief is the truth of an eternal thing does not come spontaneously in the mind. Those who have knowledge of an eternal thing tell the people of it, and the people believe it and stand to it. This is called i'tiqad or faith, and this is the state of all common people. But there are such men who establish the truth of an eternal matter by such proofs as follows. If there is no existence of an eternal thing, then all things are originated or created. If all things are created, they come without cause, or some of them come into existence without cause. This is impossible, and that which leads to impossibility itself is impossible. Therefore, the mind is compelled to believe in the existence of something eternal. All things fall under one of the three categories. Number one, all existing things are eternal. Number two, all existing things are originated or created. Number three, or some things are eternal, some things are originated. If all things are eternal, the object is attained as the truth of eternal things has been established by proof. But if all things are created, it becomes impossible, as the existence of a thing becomes without a cause. In that case, either the first or the third position is established. The knowledge thus obtained through reasoning, such as above, or through the mind instinctively as the impossibility of any created thing coming into existence without a cause, or through tradition as the knowledge that there is the existence of Makkah, or through experimentation such as our knowledge that cooked is purgative, or through some evidence, as we have already stated, is called yaqeen or certain faith. The ordinary meaning of yaqeen is belief without doubt. The second meaning of yaqeen is that of the jurists, the Sufis, and of the most learned men. It is not to look at a thing with a conjecture or a doubt. For instance, it is said that so and so has got weak faith about death, although there is no doubt in it. Another instance is that so and so had firm faith in earning wealth, although at times when it comes, he cannot even earn his livelihood. Thus, whenever anything prevails over the mind and enjoins one to do or prohibits him not to do, is called yaqeen. All people firmly believe about death, and it is free from doubt, but there are men who turn their attention to it and do not much think about it, and there are men who engage all their thoughts towards preparation of death. Such men are called the men of strong faith. For this reason, someone has said, I have seen nothing so certain and at the same time completely unheeded by people as death. According to this, faith may be described either with strength or with weakness. What I wish to impress is that the object of the learned men of the hereafter is to make his faith strong, certain and firm, as it is the medicine of doubt, so that it becomes so strong that in his mind it can rule over him. Thus, it is clear from what has been described above that yaqeen has been described in the meanings as to strength and weakness, increase or decrease, clearness and vagueness. What the Prophet said from the first to the last is a subject of certain faith. Yaqeen is a work of special marfat. These matters pertain to Sharia, and I am mentioning some of these matters which are the roots of certain faith, that is yaqeen. Tawheed. This is to believe firmly that all things come from the cause of all causes, with no attention to the secondary cause but to the first cause. It is not to look to the means or the people in the middle, but to the original and primary cause. It is that all causes come from God, and that everything is within His control and power. It is that everything is subject to God's will, and nothing has got a will of its own. If one has got sure faith in this Tawheed, his wrath on others, hatred for others, and jealousy for others will vanish away, and he and God will remain supreme in his mind. Then to him the means or intermediaries become like a hand and a pen. He who does not express gratefulness to the hand and the pen, as he considers them as weapons and means, this certain faith is the highest in rank. Then he understands that sun, moon, stars, animals, plants, and all creatures are subject to God's order, and that the pen moves under the control of the writer who moves them. Number 2. From this faith that God provides every man with sustenance grows strong. God says there is no moving animal in the earth whose provision is not upon God. He believes that what has been preordained for him must come to pass. The result of this certain faith is that there will be no regret for anything that he loses. Number 3. Then he believes firmly in the following verse, quote, "Whoever does an atom's weight of good will find it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will find it." That is the faith of reward and punishment, as there is a connection of bread with satisfaction of the stomach and punishment with sins or poison with the loss of life, so he finds connection of good deeds with rewards and of evil deeds with punishment. As there is greed to satisfy hunger, whether its quantity is large or small, so he strives to do all acts of worship, whether few or many. Just as man avoids poison regardless of the quantity, so a man avoids sin, which is small or large. Belief, in its first meaning, is found among believers, while certain belief of the second meaning is found only in the favorite people of God. The stronger the faith, the stronger is the carefulness, and the more are the religious actions. Fourthly, he believes that God watches him all the time and under all circumstances, and sees his currents of thoughts in mind and machinations of the devil. This certain faith is in accordance with the first interpretation. The objective is noble according to the second interpretation, as it is the faith of a Siddiq. In this case, he observes all the etiquettes in loneliness as he observes them before an emperor. For this reason, he makes his heart more pure and clean than his body. In this condition, shame, fear, humility, peace, modesty, and all other praiseworthy qualities appear in him. So certain is the root of his faith, and its branches are many. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.